welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for another video. So I'm of course back in my greenhouse. Once it gets warm, it's pretty much impossible for me to not be outside. So I'm out here with the lovely birds singing and enjoying the sun. So I just wanted to film a quick catch up and give you guys an update how my seedlings in the back are doing. We planted those together last video. A bit of a slow start, but that's okay. It obviously hasn't been very long. And then just wanted to share a little bit of an update on some of the in-flight garden projects that I've got going on. So right behind me, I think I showed you this a few videos back, I mentioned that I wanted to build like a little bit of a brick enclosed bed, and I had planted some Japanese anemones there. Sadly, I did have to move those because the deer, it turns out, like to eat those too here. So really not much is safe from these deer. They are a very hungry bunch and they will take anything. So I moved those out and I did put them in the critter fence. And I also had some planted in the front of the house that I also transplanted to protect them. So that project is still in flight, and now that it's getting warmer, I should be able to pick that up and hopefully finish it up in a couple of weeks. And then I think I mentioned this in the last video, I have two fairly deep raised beds that my husband built for me that are in the critter fence waiting for soil at the moment, and we did pick up that soil, and I'm going to, over the next couple of days, fill them up. It actually might take longer than that because it's a fairly large amount of soil. And then excitingly start direct sowing some of my root vegetables. And I think I mentioned this in my last video, but this year I'm really excited to try to grow beans for the first time. I was scrolling on Instagram and there's this beautiful account that I follow, and I'll post the handle here on the screen. I don't quite remember it off the top of my head, but she had a gorgeous support structure that I believe you can use for beans. I'm not sure if that's exactly what she was using it for. I'm sure you could use it for really anything that climbs up, maybe sweet peas as well, but my hope is I have some bamboo stakes here in the corner of my greenhouse that I want to try to use to build the same support structure. March is definitely, from a gardening perspective, what feels like the busiest time of the year, at least to me, and I can never possibly get ahead of all the things I want to do, but I'm hoping by telling you guys some of the things that I want to do, I'll keep myself accountable, and that way I'll actually get projects done. It's not that I'm a procrastinator, but I just get a little overly ambitious with too many projects. And I don't know, I can't help it, I get too excited. And then honestly, the most exciting update that I have, which isn't garden related at all, is that I have ducklings coming. So it's been a lifelong dream of mine to have farm animals. And I am a huge animal lover. Honestly, if I could just live on a property and spend my whole life dedicated to raising and taking care of animals, I absolutely would. And honestly, that was one of the big drivers behind wanting to move to a property that had some amount of land, was the ability to have animals. So we're starting out first with ducks. We already have 3 dogs. You may have seen them in the previous videos. We have 2 corgis and a senior Australian shepherd, and we are expanding our little animal family. I was struggling between choosing runner ducks or Pekin ducks. However, I have a bit of a sweet story that ended up influencing me to go with Pekins. So every time that we drive out to town on the weekend, we pass by a house that has a Pekin that likes to roam out in their front yard, and it's become a tradition to look for the duck every time. And I've become way too emotionally attached to this duck. I'm really invested in its well-being, and every time I don't see it, I get worried and I wonder where he is. It's like slightly unhealthy at this point. That duck is just so special to me, even though he doesn't even know I exist, but I truly fell in love with him. So because of that, I just am already emotionally attached to Pekins. Long term, we'd love to build a barn on the property, and then I can fulfill my lifelong wish of having a mini Highland cow. Animal dreams aside, I did want to get out here today to do a little flower arrangement, and you'll see here I've got this little mini pink cabbage burr bowl. This is actually the bottom half of a mini soup tureen that I found on Etsy. And inside of it, I have an antique flower frog that I picked up from a local antique shop that I'll be using. So as per usual, I don't really have a plan for this arrangement. I'm just gonna forage around the garden and maybe grab some daffodils and some greenery, and honestly, just whatever I can find at this time of year.
these gorgeous daffodils.
Okay, so I brought my gorgeous daffodils in and I've got my little frog placed in my tureen. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with some water. And what's really nice about the sturdy metal frog is it's so heavy that it will stay at the bottom. All right, next I'm going to take my daffodils. Look how beautiful these are. These were actually already planted on the property before we moved in. So they were an amazing surprise the first spring. So I'm going to go ahead and place them on my frog, just putting the stems on a spike. And something that I've heard that I honestly don't know the truth on is I think daffodils, at least the sap, might be poisonous or at least an irritant. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, so do not quote me, but that's why I'm wearing gloves doing this. I just want to be very cautious and make sure that I don't get any painful injuries from a sap rash. I've also heard people say things about daffodils not doing well with other flowers and arrangements. Again, I'm not sure if that's fully 100% true, but I know I've definitely seen it being said before. So if you guys know the truth to any of these thoughts, please let me know in the comments. All right, so there is our rough daffodil arrangement. And as you can see, they all they want to tilt their way to the side. I can't seem to really get them to stand up straight in the middle. I'm gonna see if I can rearrange this middle guy. Yeah, they just want to fall right over. But the frog is giving a little bit of support, so that's good. I think I should just cut this guy shorter. Okay, so I gave this guy a little trim. All right, so there is the start of the arrangement. So I grabbed a couple of branches off of my magnolia tree. As you can see, some of the flowers are a little bit worse for wear. They were on their way over, but I think these will be a gorgeous addition. All right, so now I'm going to place these branches. All right, so that is the final arrangement. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm just going to cover up the bottom with a bit of moss. All right, so I've gathered up just a handful of moss here that I'm going to place. So here's the moss I put around the base of the arrangement. And here is the arrangement all finally complete. Just wanted to share an update on some of the bulb arrangements that we made together. These are the Muscari bulbs, and as you can see, they are growing really well. Another day of checking on the seedling growth, and look at this. Every single one of the tatsoi seedlings has come up. We have a couple more cosmos coming through as well. All of these are cosmos. The middle ones are a little bit late to come up, but hopefully they still do.